Just call every woman. starving to get through to her, to hear the words of her mouth, to be in her heart. Cause when you need her, she wanna treat you like your dad. Until we don't think, just find it till she doesn't bother. Last night, my neighbor cried for no reason. And yesterday, she made my heart die. And when you need her to call her, just call her Malaika. The perfect girl is mine, love in her eyes, everybody likes her. And when you need her to call her, just call her Malaika. The perfect girl is mine, love in her eyes, everybody likes her. Yeah, just call her a woman. Yeah, just call her a woman. Yeah, just call her a woman. Thank you. As I said, my name is Chris Bahizi. All these songs that I've been performing are in my album. I released an album early this year, and the title of the album is Asubuhi. Asubuhi talks about very many things. We are here, well, because of human rights and all that. There's so many songs in Asubuhi. I'm a refugee from DRC. There's so many songs in that album that talks about what happened in DRC. So when you listen to that album, for those who listen to Kiswahili, and there's some of English songs in that album, there's Kiswahili, there's English, there's French, so you can tune in. My name is Chris Bahizi. Bahizi is B-A-H-I-Z-I. The album is available on Spotify and iTunes. You can buy it on iTunes, and it's also available on Apple Music. You can tune in. It's a very beautiful album. I enjoyed myself. So I believe you're also going to enjoy it. Nafasi nyingine nikapewa, na labda nikijituma nami kwa siku ataniletea, nami niwe na vyangu, nepuke vya walimwengu. Kila siku napoamka, napoianza siku mpya, namshukuru Mola kwa kunilinda. Nafasi nyingine nikapewa, na labda nikijituma nami na kwenye maisha kuna kuanguka, na sitachoka nitainuka, mpaka siku itakapofika, ndoto zangu zote kukamilika. Chenye maneno nitaamua kuishi kusema, na nisijali yenu maneno, maana wamezaliwa wanasema. Chenye maneno nitaamua kuishi kusema, na nisijali yenu maneno, maana wamezaliwa wanasema. Maisha kuna kuanguka, na sitachoka nitainuka, mpaka siku itakapofika, ndoto zangu zote kukamilika. Na kwenye maisha kuna kuanguka, na sitachoka nitainuka, mpaka siku itakapofika, ndoto zangu zote kukamilika. Chenye maneno nitaamua kuishi kusema, na nisijali yenu maneno, maana wamezaliwa wanasema. Chenye maneno nitaamua kuishi kusema, na nisijali yenu maneno, maana wamezaliwa wanasema. Hello, hello. Maneno is words, it's a Kiswahili song. Basically, the song talks about dreamers. People who wake up every morning to chase their dreams. I believe there's dreamers here. Any dreamers in the house? There's no dreamers in here.
I'm here.
There's no dreamers, I can't hear you. Yeah. Few dreamers in the house, but I had so many dreamers when the discussion was happening. Wondering where I am now. I'm a dreamer, just like so many of us in the house. I started singing in 2016 with my friends. I was playing guitar with my friends, just in our house. And my friends could come home, we could play and create songs, create music. And there's so many other songs I've written of so many artists around Congo, here in Kampala. I'm really glad I didn't know that I could write for anyone or for any big artist. I was supposed to write, I can't say name. I wasn't allowed to talk about any name of the people that I wrote for. But I'm really glad that I did that. And I'm really glad that I'm here performing in front of you today. Thank you. Nous sommes nos propres pères. Si jeune et pourtant si fier, ça me fait penser. Tu sais, nous sommes nos propres mères. Si jeune, si sérieux, mais ça va changer. Non, on passe le temps à faire des plans pour les lendemains, pendant que les bons temps passés nous laissent vider certains, perdons les temps, assis où elle s'écorche le main. À quoi ça sert si on n'est pas sûr de voir demain? À rien, alors envie chaque jour comme les derniers. Non, et vous ferez pareil si seulement vous le saviez. Combien de fois la fin du monde nous a frôlés, mes chers, alors envie chaque jour comme les derniers. Pas parce qu'on vient de loin, parce qu'on vient de loin, yeah, yeah. Parce qu'on vient de loin, parce qu'on vient de loin, yeah, yeah. Et quand les temps sont durs, on se dit pire que notre histoire n'existe pas. Yeah, non, quand l'hiver perdure, on se dit simplement que la chaleur nous reviendra. Et c'est facile comme ça, non, oh, jour après jour, on voit combien tout est éphémère. Alors que mon ami, j'aimerais faire si ouais comme si c'était la dernière. L'air est trop lourd, à ton avis que sur des pierres. Moi je savoure chaque instant, bien avant que s'éteigne la lumière. Alors on vit chaque jour comme les derniers. Non, vous ferez pareil si c'est long, vous le saviez. Combien de fois la fin du monde nous a frôlés, mes chers. Alors on vit chaque jour comme les derniers, parce qu'on vient de loin. Parara-ou, parara-ou, para-papa, yeah. Parara-ou, parara-ou, parce qu'on vient de loin. Parara-ou, parara-ou, para-papa, yeah. Parara-ou, parara-ou. Parce qu'on vient de loin, parara-ou, parara-ou. Et quand les temps sont durs, on se dit pire que notre histoire n'existe pas. Yeah, non, et quand l'hiver perdure, on se dit simplement que la chaleur nous reviendra. C'est facile comme ça, yeah. Alors on vit chaque jour comme les derniers. Non, et vous ferez pareil si seulement vous le saviez. Combien de fois la fin du monde nous a frôlés, mes chers. Alors on vit chaque jour comme les derniers, parce qu'on vient de loin. Parara-ou, parara-ou, para-papa, yeah. Can you sing with me? Parce qu'on vient de loin. Parara-ou, parara-ou, para-papa. That was French, so we're going to learn. That was French. The song was written by an artist called Corneille. He was born in, he's Canadian, but he was born in Rwanda. I'm basically Rwandan, but all my parents were born in Congo, so I was raised in Congo, and everything that I know is from Congo. But I had some of my ancestors from Rwanda. Some of them got murdered. My grandmothers remained the only person in her family to survive during the war. So it was a tragedy. The artist that wrote this song is also Rwandan, and they migrated in Canada in 1994 when the genocide happened in Rwanda. They went to Canada. So he never forgot where he came from. I also never forget where I come from. And we should also never forget where we come from. Our culture can be rich and defined if we don't forget where we come from. Thank you. na yo na Canada, kuna na mboka mo paya. There's some Congolese in the house, and yeah. That's Lingala. Mosika yo kenda, eske yo kanisa kangai, yo kena yo na Canada, kuna na mboka mo paya. Kuna na mboka mo paya, mituna ngai, eske yo kanisa kangai, gamoko no mituna, eske yo kanisa kangai, eske yo kanisa kangai. Je pense à toi, 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 même si j'oublie de le faire, finalement tu seras. Yo kena poto ngai mawatro, chale. Yo kena poto ngai mawatro, songata mokola lelo, nalotata na ndoto. Yo zongi tona kuti yo api yo, bolingwa mapanzo mangai, na yo kata sai, utuane salata molai. Yo kena poto ngai mawatro, chale. Yo kena poto ngai mawatro, songata mokola lelo, nalotata na ndoto. Yo zongi tona kuti yo api yo, bolingwa mapanzo mangai, na yo kata sai, butuane salata molai. Je pense à toi, 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 même si j'oublie de faire, finalement tu seras. Je pense à toi, je pense à toi, Can we sing together? Je pense à toi, 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 même si j'oublie de faire, finalement tu seras. Je pense à toi, je pense à toi. Okay, let's go slow. Je pense à toi, je pense à toi, je pense à toi means I think about you. So it's not something supernatural. Can we go together? Hey, je pense à toi. 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 Je pense à toi, même si j'oublie de faire, finalement tu seras. Je pense à toi. Je pense à toi. Yo kena poto ngai mawatro, chale. Yo kena poto ngai mawatro, songata mokola lelo, nalotata na ndoto. Yo zongi tona kuti yo api yo, bolingwa mapanzo mangai, na yo kata sai, butuane salata molai. Thank you. This is my last song. Merci beaucoup. You can follow me on social media. to listen to follow up with my activities. My name is Chris Bahizi. Chris Bahizi is B-A-H-I-Z-I. Chris Bahizi. Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup, Chris Bahizi. C'était très bien. Tu as chanté très bien.
Oui, je vous en prie.
OK. Let's give a big round of applause to Chris Bahizi. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. No. That's not the energy we need when we're celebrating 10 years of defending civil liberty. Let's try it again. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Still don't have full subscription from everyone. Let me try this again. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, when I say chapter, you say chapter. Chapter. You guys, I don't get the vibe. I'm not. You know what? No. In fact, I like the idea of standing up because my mother told me something very special, that you should never speak to strangers. And for you to develop long-lasting relationships, you must get to know people. So we're going to do something special. I know that we've had a 2-day conference. We've had a chance to be able to discuss, to dialogue. But a lot of the times you just sit with people you came with, people you know, people from the same law firms, people from the same organizations. Now we're going to break that norm. I want you to stand up. I want you to meet 3 people whom you don't know. You see, totally new individual. Not now. No, slow down. Whom you don't know. You see, at chapter 4, we have numerous values, but one of our values is non-discrimination. So I want anybody. All right, so I have my music. All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, energy. Everybody get up. Meet people you have never met. Walk to a different table. Say hi, what's your name? Where do you come from? What do you do for a living? Meet 3 people whom you have no idea where they come from, what they do. Make sure you meet people you don't know. Shake their hands. Bonga. Say hi, how are you? Pull up in a beam. Too much, too clean, I'm taller. Don't foster. 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go. Create those relationships. I went flexer. Tina said gym, too hot like a heater. My neck done froze like winter. Don't bet it on liquor, Shay's on big picture. MJ on the sheet. 30 seconds. Funny vibes every night. Enter, non-talagat. Costa, I can style like Fokker. Pull up in a beam. Too much, too clean, I'm taller. Don't foster. Serious and daughter. A big time player. Trip too big, Uganda. I went flexer, Tina said gym, too hot like a heater. My neck done froze like winter. Don't bet it on liquor, Shay's on big picture. MJ on the sheet, thriller. All right, 10 seconds. Everybody takes their seats. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's give everybody a big round of applause. All right, let's kindly take our seats. Please take your seats. So, this is the essence of celebration. If I may kindly ask everybody who is celebrating, please take your seats. Please take your seat. You'll have a chance to sit back, relax, and meet more people after we are done. Don't worry. Please take your seats, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So if you have somebody next to you who is still standing, just tap the guy and say, "Hey, let's follow instructions." So, how do you celebrate a decade of making a difference? Well, this is what you do. You put together a massive conference. You have the best speakers in the country. But at the same time, you have a group of individuals who are committed to making a change when it comes to civil liberties. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be my pleasure to welcome the Director of Programs. Please welcome Mr. Anthony Masake. Energy! Let's go. Keep clapping. Keep clapping. Energy! Hey, sound. Please keep giving sound. I need it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mitch, and thank you so much for staying for all this time. It's an honor for us at Chapter 4 to have you here for the 2 days. This is November, a very difficult time, but you've decided to give us your time. We really appreciate. I'm here to do something very brief, really, and then I'll invite again Mr. Stephen Tumwesige to come and share a few words on behalf of the Board of Directors. I want you to know that for us at Chapter 4, at the Secretariat, Mr. Stephen will speak for the board and the organization. But at the Secretariat, I really want to thank you for all the work that you've done with us over the past 10 years. I know we have partners here from the sub-regions who have always been there when we have come to your districts to have interactions with you. We really appreciate that support. At this point, please allow me invite Mr. Stephen Tumwesige to share a few words. If you could join me just to give him a round of applause as he comes. He'll share a few words and then we'll proceed. It's a light evening, nothing formal, no panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Anthony, and welcome to all of you to Chapter 4's 10-year celebration. I have instructions from the board chair. If you look at your programs, the board chair is supposed to speak. But the board chair of Chapter 4 is Dr. Zahara Nampeo. Obviously, I'm not Dr. Zahara Nampeo. My name is Stephen Tumwesige. I'm a corporate lawyer, but today I'll put on my human rights and public interest hat and speak about Chapter 4. So what is 10 years? If you have children and they're in our primary schools, they are in P5. So that's 10 years, P5. So Chapter 4 is that child now in P5. We haven't even begun. Okay, the work of Chapter 4 hasn't even begun. A few years ago when Chapter 4 was closed, and I'll come to the closure of Chapter 4, I went to one of the regulators to convince them to reopen the organization. And I said, you see, this is a very small organization. And they said, no. This is a humongous organization. Perhaps that spoke to the work that Chapter 4 had been able to do in those few years. So I want to congratulate the management and staff of Chapter 4 on this huge milestone. But let's go back to 2013, when Chapter 4 was formed. So the reason perhaps I'm speaking here as a member of the board is because I was part of that meeting that started the organization. So in 2013, there was a restaurant called Prunes. It's now no longer existent, by the way. I think it's now a former restaurant. But Nicholas Opio, who is not here, invited 5 people to come for that meeting. And I remember then there was Angelo Izama, who's not here, Businje Kabumba, who spoke yesterday, Mr. Ladazlas Rwakafuzi, and myself and others, I think. I forget the 5th person. And he came with this idea that he wanted to form a very bold organization to defend Chapter 4 of the Constitution. And you know, Nicholas can be very convincing. So he had convinced all of us and said, I want to even name the organization Chapter 4. But he was taking us on speedy. So we said, calm down, slow down. What do you want to actually do? In simple terms, he says, I wanted to form an organization that can give dignity to all and have respect for human rights for all. So when you ask yourself, have we achieved the mission and vision that the person who had this vision thought of? Okay? So I'll give the verdict to you, but I'll give you some examples of what Chapter 4 has done over the years. One of them has been to challenge several laws that are an affront to the Constitution. Okay? So if any law has risen its head and said, we are inconsistent with the Constitution, Chapter 4 has been able to challenge it. I'll give you examples. The Public Order Management Act was challenged with the support of Chapter 4. If you remember the Miniskirt Law, the Anti-Pornography Act was challenged successfully by Chapter 4. The challenge Section 25 of the Computer Misuse Act on offensive communication was challenged by Chapter 4. Even the controversial Anti-Homosexuality Act of 2014 and even now was also challenged by Chapter 4. In addition, Chapter 4 has defended many civil liberties. Pro-democracy activists, people who have been incarcerated without trial, Chapter 4 has been at the forefront of that work. Many of you are NGOs, and you know that Chapter 4 has been at the forefront of ensuring that you have legal and regulatory compliance. So supporting over 1,000 NGOs with legal and regulatory support. So I want to thank the team for that effort. Now, I've told you the story of how the organization was closed. Our executive director was imprisoned. It was really a tough 3 years from 2020. So we had arrest, COVID-19, and then closure of the organization. Now, I want to thank our donors who stood with us and are still with us even when we went through that period of closure. I want to thank them very much, CAS included. But I also want to thank the team at Chapter 4, the staff, because for 2 years we were completely closed. But none of the staff of Chapter 4 sent in their resignation because the organization was closed. I think that deserves really a round of applause. Thank you for committing to stay with Chapter 4 all through the years and all through the difficulties. So finally, I think, you know, when an organization gets to 10, you think, okay, how are they going to be in the next 20 years? How are they going to be in the next 30 years? Perhaps what are they going to be in the next 50 years? Okay, so I will invite you to read, again, Businje Kabumba's article in the Observer yesterday, I think on Wednesday. I wrote something about money and human rights. And specifically gave a challenge to all of us to think of, if we are not earning from human rights, would we still practice human rights? Okay? And then gives us several other proposals on how you can improve the work of human rights activism. So I'll invite you to read it. But also add a few things as we go into the next 10 years of Chapter 4 and say we are committed. The organization is organized with the robust compliance mechanisms, and we will stick to the strategic plan. We'll be bolder, we are more emboldened, and we will be able to achieve much, much more going forward. So I want to thank you for listening to me, for attending these 2 days, and congratulations to Chapter 4 and we can't wait to see what comes up in the future. Thank you very much.
Okay. I think you can give Stephen a bigger hand clap than that. So you say, true to the values, you see, chapter 4 is accountable, they're courageous. But you see, sometimes when you tell people these things, that those are your values, they don't believe you. They say that the eyes of an African are in their hands. They need to see this and touch it. So what I want to do is that I'm going to draw your attention to the screen to watch a video which is going to show you our story. Video, please.
As the first decade of a new millennium came to a close, the social and political atmosphere in Uganda took a turn for the worst. From the introduction of the anti-homosexuality bill to the death of over 40 people in the 2009 Buganda riots, the rift within the country seemed endless. The state was more blatant in the practice of extrajudicial killings in an attempt to repress civic disobedience and the freedom of association. Tensions rose to an all-time high in 2011. There was a highly contested election characterized by violence, abductions, and the continued assault on media and civil society. The Black Monday anti-corruption campaign was met with arrests, and the walk-to-work movement led by Dr. Kizza Besigye was met with brute force and abuse of human rights.
So many of us were appalled by the turn of events from 2009 to 2011. We were at individual levels deeply involved in responding to them because we thought at the time that the country could do better. We couldn't stand by and watch fundamental rights and freedoms being abused by other people, because we also felt that if we didn't stop the avalanche of abuse, we never knew where it would end. It might be ourselves the next day. There was a need for a more coherent response to the violations of rights and freedoms that we were witnessing. And a couple of people came together and the idea for Chapter 4 was born. As an institution, a principled institution for the defense of fundamental rights and freedoms, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or any other differences that you may have.
This ambitious vision was weaved into the DNA of Chapter 4 Uganda and made the organization a champion of fundamental human rights and freedoms.
That is why the organization is called Chapter 4. Chapter 4 really is the Bill of Rights in our constitution.
Chapter 4 Uganda's mission was clear: to provide a strategic and non-discriminatory legal response in the defense of civil liberties in Uganda.
So first of all, there were many people who doubted us. Some people were hesitant to get involved with us because we were quite outspoken about the LGBTI community. And I think they were a bit homophobic and thought that we were pursuing a singular agenda. But we were lucky that at the beginning, this single vision was a vision that was embraced by some people. They bet on us. They gave us resources, they gave us their unwavering support. From day one, they believed in this vision.
At the time when I was working as the country manager for Wellspring Uganda, we were considering what it would be like to establish an organization that was like ACLU. And this was an organization that was literally set up to do nothing else but defend civil liberty. And we thought, how do we replicate that model in Uganda, but create it as something that is Uganda specific? And so we hired Ashanut Okile, I believe, at the time, to go out and do some research for us. And when she presented to us that yes, there was indeed space for an organization like this, it was much needed at the time, and let's do it, right? And so Wellspring was was like, okay, let's do it. But then who? Who will do it for us? And so Arsenal said, I think I know the right person. And we needed the right combination of legal brains, but also a person whose heart was sold.
Nicholas was a relatively young man because by the time he came up to me, I had practiced law for more than 30 years. So when he came up and brought an idea that we needed to have an NGO through which can support our human rights work, so I was very much interested. He even gave me the opportunity to register Chapter 4.
With the support of a donor and the right legal minds, Chapter 4 started aligning its vision and charting a path forward. The purpose of its existence continued to resonate with like-minded individuals who joined to contribute to the mission of the organization.
I was the first staff other than Nicholas. What drew me was I wanted to be part of something new.
When the opportunity for joining Chapter 4 came in 2014, I think for me, one key thing was this is an organization that's going to be heavy on advocacy, and advocacy that is driven by strategic and public interest litigation. So it was very clear that taking a job here would enable me to be able to challenge some of these challenges that the communities were facing.
I found Chapter 4 and they found me. And I think, we spoke to each other in terms of our passion for defense of human rights work in Uganda.
Chapter 4 set its sights on being known, not just for what it said, but for what it did.
You cannot speak to human rights if you're not a human rights entity, if you don't respect human rights yourself.
It was all hands on deck, and everyone had a role to play in the journey ahead.
While ours was to support, probably with funding, I think I took on, for me as Jacqueline, an additional role to say, this is a Ugandan leader in the human rights space. Not an easy space, by the way, by any stretch of the imagination. And I know that Nicholas has been personally attacked, personally. And so the role I played was more, I'll check on you. I'll check on how you really are. And I hope Nicholas can say that that's what I've done for him, that truly be a big sister.
This collaborative effort placed Chapter 4 Uganda at the forefront of the fight for human rights, continuously innovating and fearlessly advocating for equality and non-discrimination.
We have our vision and we have a number of objectives that we try to meet as an organization. Number one, of course, is the human rights advocacy. So we are trying to ensure that the laws are respected, that the human rights principles that Uganda has adopted as a country are complied with. We also do strategic litigation. We use the law through the courts to test the status of human rights in the country. And the other thing that we do quite keenly is to provide general counsel to other civil society organizations.
Even for such a noble mission, challenges loomed on the horizon, but in the face of adversity, Chapter 4 Uganda remained unyielding.
I tell this joke to my friends that you're never a good lawyer unless you understand the full cycle of the criminal justice system. Because oftentimes lawyers are on the other side shouting and defending, but you have no idea what happens behind bars. You're never a complete lawyer unless you've seen what happens behind bars and you're a first-hand witness. I think my arrest gave me an insight into a world I'd never been into before. But really what happened was a series of events. First, security operatives believed to be from the Chieftains of Military Intelligence broke into my house, had me sedated, and stripped my house of my phones, electronics, computers, cameras. I think they were looking for information. I don't know what kind of information it was. I can only guess that perhaps it was our investigations into the killings during elections, or indeed our work with opposition supporters who were being disappeared, kidnapped, and killed by the state at the time. After my house was broken into, an army car tried to run me off the road. And a few days later, they broke into our offices, trying to steal computers, again, to look for information. And then subsequently, in December of 2020, had me arrested by 3 drone vehicles, or what you call drones, 14-seater minibuses, and about 18 fully armed men with helmets, bulletproof vests, pull up into a small restaurant where I was having lunch and had us arrested. They put on my head a sack with what seemed to me like smelling human blood rotting in the sack, and took me away to jail. To be quite honest, we saw it coming because of the series of events that happened before and the several warnings that several people had sent my way, either anonymously or in person. And so I wasn't surprised that I was arrested. What I was surprised about was the amount of force that they deployed in my arrest. I kept telling the people who arrested me that if they had called me on the phone and summoned me, I would have turned up. That it was unnecessary for them to bring all that force to my arrest.
The kidnap of a renowned human rights lawyer, Nicholas Opio, by the Museveni regime. These are signs of a panicky dictatorship.
I never allowed my tormentors to get to my head, because once they get into your head, then they have captured you. You become angry, you become vindictive, you lose your mind and lose your focus. If they were going to keep me in prison, I was going to take my work to prison. Every single day in prison, there was a long queue at my door of young men who had never seen the inside of a courtroom for more than 2 years, partly because of COVID restrictions, but also because of the broken criminal justice system. So I just turned my prison time into work time. For the time I spent in prison, I was able to free 4 people who had been arrested and were with me in prison. Even when I left, I committed myself to helping people who were behind to leave prison.
I think the most challenging one was the indefinite suspension of our NGO permit. We had to close the office for almost a year, and during that period we were not able to serve the human rights defenders, the NGOs that we often work with to support, and many other stakeholders.
I remember we had just done recruitment for new staff. There were people joining that month. Joining in September, they closed us in August. And you have a lot to do. You have to keep the team together. There was a lot of uncertainties.
Of course, it was very frustrating. It was also long days and long months, especially when we had to go to court and try to challenge that indefinite suspension. But I'm glad that we eventually won the court case.
The shifting patterns in in donor relations. We've had the narrowing civic space. We've had the departing partners in Uganda recently. The UN Office of the High Commissioner closed shop this year. We've had the closure of the largest pool of funding to civil society organizations, the DGF. So that has created that environment where it is not very conducive to do human rights.
These challenges not only fueled the passion for the work, but also renewed the resilience of the team. The challenges made every victory much more meaningful and even inspired the formation of the network of public interest lawyers who have since been at the forefront of the fight for human rights.
We are a thought leader in the area of civil society, in the sector of civil society in the country. And I can actually say with confidence that during the time that Chapter 4 was suspended, you could feel that there was need, there was a gap, especially in the area of civil and civil liberties.
The positive impact of the work on the lives of day-to-day Ugandans is impossible to quantify.
When I'm walking on the street, an old woman would hug you and thank you for rescuing their child from being expelled from the university. An old woman would thank you for rescuing their husband who had been detained incommunicado by the state and had been tortured for months. It is those individual cases that gives me immense satisfaction. They are impact litigation cases that we have been involved in that we are very proud of. We worked with Facebook in a case in Ireland, the case of Moema versus Facebook, to convince the Irish courts to dismiss the application of Mr. Fred Moema because we thought it was a danger to social media activism. Cases of Stella Nyanzi, where you had a university professor critical of the first family being tortured, being brutalized, being arrested. We were proud to stand by her, represent her successfully, alongside other lawyers and other groups of people that were able to mobilize. People like Bobby Wine, when he was tortured in Arua and nearly killed, we stood by him to represent him.
The Public Order Management Act, where people are tear gassed and beaten for exercising their freedom of peaceful assembly. Because of the work that we've done here at Chapter 4, with the support of partners, we have been able to get that Section 8 of that Public Order Management Act to be declared null and void and unconstitutional.
It doesn't matter the number of cases we've been involved in, it is the impact of these cases that we see every day in the lives of ordinary people who would have either been dead or been in a very bad situation, but for our intervention.
I'm happy that my company is able to help people out there, because many times when you're faced with a problem and you need someone to help, it's a legal issue, you're like, where can I go, where can I turn to? And Chapter 4 comes and they're able to help. That is really it's wonderful.
I think if you mention Chapter 4 across any boundary of Uganda, you will definitely get endless beneficiaries of Chapter 4. These beneficiaries will either be part of the trainings they are provided or part of the legal services they are provided across the country. Right now, Chapter 4 has stood in for me to defend a land on which I started realizing my humanity as a child. There are a group of people who decided to go to court, take us to court, and claiming that this is their land. But these are all forces that are intended to stop me from doing the work. And when I reported this to Chapter 4, Nicholas Opio took it upon himself to make sure that he takes on this land matter wherever it will end. And that is a blessing that I got from Chapter 4 as an individual. As organization, Chapter 4 has always come to us to check for our legal status, to check on how we are operating, to also give us support, both moral and financial support, to make sure that the work we do is sustained. The case in point is when journalists were arrested together with the panelists of a radio talk show, and they were locked up in a Jumani police cell. It was Chapter 4 that came in to really make sure that these guys got their freedom.
10 years down the road, Chapter 4 stands at the intersection of law and justice, carrying the torch of strategic and public interest litigation. There are bigger battles to be fought, but the fight for human rights has found its champion in Chapter 4 Uganda.
First of all, I want to congratulate Chapter 4 for reaching 10 years. It's not an easy organization doing protection for human rights defenders and defending civil liberties in all over the country, and also contributing to the growth of the rule of law in the sub-region and also in the region of Africa.
As we get better known and as our reputation grows, the demands on time, the demands on our resources, our human resources, our financial resources are also growing.
We have a strong crop of staffers. We have many young people coming in to join the movement. We have donors and supporters who believe in our work.
The issues of human rights still exist, they continue, and they're bound to continue.
I have a feeling that the state is increasingly not interested in the protection of the Constitution.
It's a circle.
So you are pursuing issues because human wrongs will never end as well. Then human rights have to be correcting those wrongs.
So chapter 4 is still very young. It still has a very big burden to carry. This is just the beginning.
In the next 10 years, we see ourselves as being a strong and better organization in human rights monitoring and documentation. I'm hoping that we'll be able to have better results from our strategic and public interest litigation. I also expect that we will have supported the civil society organizations in this country to be able to navigate this current state of shrinking civic space or closing civic space, so that they're able to stay open, keep their lights on, and continue doing the important work that they're doing, but also encourage the young people to join the civil society sector, whether in the NGO spaces or other informal associations, to be able to champion whatever ideas that they have that can make our country better.
We also want to be that organization that is a learning organization. Human rights issues are always evolving. We want to be on the top and be able to present the cutting edge issues of human rights as they emerge.
This sort of work is kind of like an addiction. When you get involved in it, it just grips you. I feel even more convinced about carrying on this work, regardless of what I've gone through. I am convinced more than anything else that we are on the right side of history. We are doing the right thing. We are not in a popularity contest. We don't seek to be popular. We seek to defend an ideal, even when that ideal is unpopular, even when that ideal is dangerous. The work that Chapter 4 is doing is very important, could never have been more important at this particular time in the history of our country. When we are struggling with our questions of governance, we are struggling with the question of closing of civic space. We need bold, creative, courageous actors to confront these sort of challenges. And I believe that we are doing the right thing, and nothing will convince us to give up.
This is only the beginning. Chapter 4 is forever a reminder that even in the darkest times, a single spark can illuminate a generation and make history one chapter at a time.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a bigger round of applause. Chapter 4. You know, Nelson Mandela said that if you're to deny people their human rights, you're actually challenging their humanity. So when you see people standing up and fighting for the rights of other people, man, it just warms your heart. But again, also, a lot of times when people give you their stories, it means a little bit more than just the statistics. And in that particular video, there was somebody I'm going to invite up in the next few minutes who, last year, I think he won an EU award as the Human Rights Defender of the Year. He's a champion. He's what they call a green champion. So I want us to put our hands together and to give him that huge, rousing Chapter 4 award. Come on, let's welcome him. William, where are you? Come on up here. This is your moment to come and speak. Come on up. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome all the way from Adjumani, William Amanzuru.
Greetings to all of you. My name is Amanzuru William Leslie. I come from Adjumani. I'm the team leader of a small organization that is yet or still growing called Friends of Zoka. I'm also, I don't know where to start from, but the video you just saw where I spoke when there was a gentleman who ran the interview. And that time I was in Lithuania just last week. But also through the work of Chapter 4 and many organizations here, I managed to go through and scoop another position of being the secretary that sits to represent Africa on a platform called World Liberty Congress. They have one of their biggest leadership scale called the World Leadership Congress Fraternity. So I sit on that platform as an underprivileged fella from Adjumani. On such a day, normally I don't read speeches, but allow me to do it today for purposes of not messing up one or two of my words. Thank you. This morning, when I walked in, Anthony Masake called me and said, I'm going to request you to have a word for us just for 5 minutes. I looked at myself, then I looked at the caliber of people who were here. I didn't speak a word to him and I said, thank you. So I walked out, then I called my colleagues back in Adjumani and I said, we have a huge task. I'm supposed to speak on your behalf and the behalf of people we speak for back home in Adjumani. Where do I start from? So the team sat, crafted a simple message because we work as a team and guided that this time I should read it. I don't need to speak it off head. You see, this is how we do it in the village because we are village oriented. And as Mitch says, we are green oriented. To step here to make a statement in celebration of the remarkable life of an organization of Chapter 4's caliber is a privilege, not only to me, but equally to Friends of Zoka and the local people we stand for. But in doing so, it weighs in responsibility. I am honored to be doing this. Colleagues and everyone here, allow me to say, I am doing this not only on my behalf, the community of Friends of Zoka back home, but also for the thousands out there in whose life, as individuals and communities, Chapter 4 had left an incredible mark. First, as Friends of Zoka, let me attest to you of our very unprivileged background for those of you who know our story. That didn't serve us well in our resolve to defend Zoka Central Forest Reserve and the bigger ecological threat back in West Nile and northern Uganda until Chapter 4, in the persons of two great humble gentlemen, Nicholas Opio, Anthony Masake, and all those working behind them, we are forever indebted. Colleagues, let me say thank you to these great men that the world has given to us. I am sure all of you, through your interactions with the Chapter 4, realizes the effectiveness and response this organization is. Even us who are disadvantaged and back home in the trenches by our rural placing can still tell a very supportive partner in Chapter 4. In their darkest hours, when Nicholas Opio was going through unfairly, the circumstances that he had to endure went on. The organization remained robust and supportive to the grassroots members and organizations and individuals like nothing is happening to this great organization, Chapter 4. Many who have by providence attained levels of Nicholas Opio and Anthony Masake and the team will grow the stubbornness of remaining in the comfortable trappings of the modern day of our current CEO games and executive directors' plays. I can tell you, Nicholas Opio and Anthony Maseke visited us in person. Interestingly, they ate with our local people, they drank together with them, they hugged each other, and this was down in Itirikwa sub-county. On our way, coming back, the car they used got stuck. And what came in my mind is, with all these security threats, where will I pull the identity of Nicholas Opio if he's injured here? Until we had to craft a system. A driver came from the district, worked tirelessly, and made sure that the car that got stuck in the mud was removed. However late it was. But then we came to a Jumani Multipurpose Training Center, had dinner together, ate our local food, hugged each other. In the morning, we saw each other and cracked stories. That day will never be forgotten in the history of Friends of Zoka. For simple reason, Nicholas took the case I talked about on that day. And the case was supposed to be dismissed the following day. So you can imagine what kind of contribution he has done to my identity, but also to the people we serve back home. It is difficult to speak exhaustively on the contribution of Chapter 4 to me as an individual, Friends of Zoka as an organization, and relations. Such speeches, if exist, will need a considerable length of time and ink to write. Having said this, colleagues, allow me to say happy anniversary to Chapter 4. Your work resonates to the farthest corner of this country, and indeed, the whole world is on your soldier for you to support. Thank you.
Thank you, William. Let's give him a round of applause as he takes his seat. So one of the things you must know is that in every struggle, you need to have people who are standing with you, who believe in your cause. And what we'd like to do is just take a few minutes and just say thank you. I'd like us to put our hands together for the EU delegation to Uganda. Let's thank them. The US Embassy, the Royal Danish Embassy, the Netherlands, let's keep the hand claps going. The Netherlands Embassy, the British High Commission, the Embassy of Belgium, the Embassy of Germany, and all other diplomatic partners. Let's just give them a big round of applause. So what we'd like to do now is that we have special certificates that we'd like to give out. So if you hear your name, please come up. Team, can we have a high energy song on standby, just as soon as we read the names of the different individuals, and then we'll have Anthony hand over the certificates. Then after that, I'd like to have the Chapter 4 team on standby because we'd like to celebrate with you as we cut the cake.
I know, it's a big vibe, but the girls them know. Steady, I know, I know, it's a big vibe, but the girls them know. They see me coming, they shout hallelujah. Every day it feels like a new year.
All right, starting off with the National Coalition of Human Rights Defenders, Uganda. Obukalo. Or any representative, the National Coalition of Human Rights Defenders, Uganda? Anybody here? Okay. I think if you're not around, we will keep it here just for you. Could we have somebody from the Vision Group? Thank you so much for your support. Next Media. We have somebody from Next Media. Nation Media Group. Anybody from Nation Media Group? Let's give them a round of applause.
Kiss, baby.
Uganda Press Photo Awards, UPPA. Anybody here from UPPA? All right, let's give them a round of applause in absentia. The Foreign Correspondents Association.
Warushe kwa mitandao, siataki mapenzi, nataka jipongeza. Naimwita yo baby, kumbe naye na
Defenders Protection Initiative, DPI. Defenders Protection Initiative, is there somebody there? Oh yes, let's give them a round of applause. Let's welcome back William, Friends of Zoka. Congratulations, William. AF Impanga and advocates. AF Impanga advocates. Is Daudi here or anybody from AF Impanga? Let's give them a round of applause. The Directorate of Human Rights and Legal Services, Uganda Police Force. Let's give them a round of applause. Sexual Minorities Uganda. Sexual Minorities Uganda. Round of applause. Public Affairs Center Uganda. Public Affairs Center Uganda. All right. ALP Advocates. ALP Advocates. Thank you so much. Uganda Women's Network. UONET. Round of applause. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations, Uganda Police Force.
Holy Father, I'm screaming.
The African Center for Treatment and Rehabilitation of Torture Victims, ACTV.
Father's got enough feeding. Holy Father, my Holy Father. Holy Father.
Obugalo.
Holy Father, I'm screaming. My Lady Gaga. She got me in my feelings. I'll be Adam. Father's got enough feeding. My Holy Father. My Holy Father.
Women Human Rights Defenders Network, Uganda. Women Human Rights Defenders Network, Uganda. Big round of applause. Uganda Human Rights Commission. Uganda Human Rights Commission. Obugalo. Uganda National NGO Forum. Uganda National NGO Forum. Onyango and Company Advocates. Network of Public Interest Lawyers, NetPIL. Network of Public Interest Lawyers, Obugalo. Human Rights and Peace Center, Huripek. Human Rights and Peace Center. A special thank you to Open Society Foundation. Open Society Foundation. I haven't seen Jackie here. Anybody from Civsource Africa? Civsource Africa. Ford Foundation. Wellspring Philanthropic Fund. Wellspring Philanthropic Fund. Akijul Enabling Change. Akijul. Bread for the World. East-West Management Institute. East-West Management Institute. Oxfam in Uganda. Oxfam. Thank you. International Center for Not-for-Profit Law. International Center for Not-for-Profit Law. Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. Big round of applause.
It's the kids, baby. Maswali mengi kwa waiter, hauna hela nini? Hiyo shingapi, hauna hela nini? Maswali mengi kwa waiter, hauna hela nini? Ile shingapi, hauna.
American Jewish World Service. Obugalo. And finally, Defend Defenders. Obugalo. So for those of you who have been part of this movement for the last 2 days, I'm sure you noticed a young man in the corner there. So what he did is that he started 2 days ago painting the heart and soul of the conference. His inspiration was drawn on everything which was being discussed, on the stories, on the ambitions, the hopes, the challenges, on all the human rights that were being abused. And every single instance that a change is made. So this young man here hails from Gulu, and you know that everybody says that Oba anti Kwene, Oba anti Gulu. So this man here comes from Gulu. He's a visual artist who has been in the business for quite a number of years. He did his training in Entebbe, the Michelangelo School of Arts. Very talented young man, so he's managed in the last 48 hours to paint a masterpiece. So I just want to ask him a couple of questions. So this is your microphone. Jal, come on.
Kope.
It's here.
It's here.
Uh-huh. So, I hear your name is Daniel Langen?
Lagen.
Lagen?
Lagen.
Lagen Gojeningo, what does it mean?
Lagen means trust.
Trust?
Yeah, naturally.
Are you serious?
So you take me to be trustworthy.
But you know that Mitch means gift in also Luo.
What a combination.
I'm telling you. So you've got a trustworthy gift in front of you right now. So what you're going to unveil right now, what was your inspiration when you were painting it? What are the things which stood out for you? Which particular stories did you draw your inspiration from to be able to put things on that easel?
Well, there are a couple of things that inspired me, but I would want to talk about chapter 4 journey.
Yes.
We just watched a video talking about their journey from 2013 to now. And it's truly inspirational. Having people unite from different organizations, different ethnicity, cultures, to just come and fight for human rights. Yeah, so it's one of the things I tried to illustrate in the painting, and it's truly inspirational. It's hopeful for the future ahead, for a better world.
Wonderful. Anthony, I'd like to officially hand the painting over to chapter 4. Daniel is going to unveil the painting now. So ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Daniel again. Let's trust his artistry. So Daniel, the moment is yours. DJ, roll a track one time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to the artistry. So, Anthony, what do you see?
First of all, I'm speechless. This is really beautiful. And I love the red. Nicholas, I think this is Dr. Stella Nyanzi, right?
Yes, definitely. We can all tell. We can all tell.
And I can see one of our panels of the Human Rights Convention down here. And I see something like a celebration.
That's right.
In the future. This is beautiful. And at chapter 4, we have something we call talking walls, where we commission art pieces and we purchase photographs that are taken by photojournalists in very difficult times as a way of also giving back and encouraging them to do more. And so we get these pieces and pin them on the wall. So when you visit us, we're able to talk through, we can spend up to 3 hours just talking about some art pieces and photographs in our small office. So this beautiful piece is going to join a family of many other art pieces. And hopefully, at the right time, if Nicholas preferred, he would have this to take with him home as a reminder of the great work he has given to this country in strategic and public interest litigation. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to Daniel Langen. Thank you very much, Daniel. So, if I could kindly ask the entire team from Chapter 4, Anthony, you inclusive, to come and join us here at the front to officially cut the cake. Sarah and the entire team, please join us at the front so that we can cut this cake and then we get this party started. Music, please. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to assist the process. We are going to count down from 10. But the interesting thing is that we're not going to reach 1. The moment we reach 4, that's when we're going to pop the bottles. All right, team Chapter 4, are we ready? All right, in everybody together. 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4! All right, ladies and gentlemen. Just low. I think that we just need to give them a massive round of applause. 10 years is no mean feat. And look at how lovely they look. Oh my gosh, amazing team. So let's just take a couple of pictures for the Wall of Fame for New York Times front page tomorrow. So we're going to share the cake, but we decided that you just can't end a 10-year celebration foie. We said we're going to end it in style. So the next group of individuals have been together for close to half a decade. That is half of the 10 years that Chapter 4 is celebrating. They play at Central Park. They play at Fast Sports. They play at different places all over Kampala. But these guys here know exactly what they're doing. But one by one, I'd like to introduce them so that they know that this is their moment. So when you're introducing a band, the first thing you do, of course, is that you need to focus on the drums. So please welcome on the drums, I've got a man called Billy. Okay, when he's ready. Yes. But you know, you just can't have the drums alone. You also need the keys. So please welcome Emma on the keys. But you know, a band has more than just drums and keys. They also have electric guitars. So please welcome Bona on the electric guitar. But you know there are two types of guitars on every single band. Welcoming the bass guitar. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Jimba. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just have instruments, that is an instrumental band. But this is the whole shebang. Introducing on the vocals, Emma J. and the one and only Vanessa. Ladies and gentlemen, Vanessa and the band.
You got a smile so bright. You know you could have been a condo. I'm holding you so tight. You know you could have been a handle. The way you set me on my feet. You know you could have been a groove. And baby, you're so smart. You know you could have been a perfume. Well, you could have been everything that you wanted to. I could tell the way you do the things you do. Alright, the way you do the things you do. As pretty as you were, you know you could have been a flower. If you didn't sweat minutes, you know you could have been an hour. The way you stole my heart, you know you could have been a crook. And baby, you're so smart. You know you could have been a schoolboy. Well, you could have been everything that you wanted to. I could tell the way you do the things you do. Alright, the way you do the things you do. You made my life so rich. You know you could have been some money. Maybe you're so sweet. You know you could have been some honey. Well, you could have been everything that you wanted to. I could tell the way you do the things you do. Alright, the way you do the things you do. You made my life so sweet. Alright, the way you do the things you do. The way you do the things you do. Alright, the way you do the things you do. You made my life so sweet. Alright, the way you do the things you do.
Got this feeling out deep in my soul that I just can't use. Guess I'm
I'm mighty glad to stay. Ladies and gentlemen, sounds of Vanessa and the band. We are having dinner outside in the next few minutes. There are also drinks on the house. I know it's been a long last 2 days. Don't sit down. At the back, we've got a chance to just stand up and relax. And if you want a Kuba dance, man, Vanessa, take it away. Kunamu!
But the moonlight lingers on. There are for everyone. The star shines so bright, but the fading at the dawn. There is mercy in kings and dawn. Town, the place I long to be. If I had the word, I would give it away just to see the girls at play. I am king, surely I'll be the queen and the the street. Say, can you help me? It's cold and I know where to sleep. Somewhere you can tell me. He walks and doesn't look back. He pretends he can hear it. Starts to whistle as he crosses the street. To be there. Oh, think twice, 'cause just another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice, 'cause just another day for you and me in paradise. The street. Sir, can you help me? It's cold and I know where to sleep. Somewhere you can tell me. He walks and doesn't look back. He pretends he can't hear it. the street. Seems bearers to be there. Oh, think twice, 'cause just another day for you and me in paradise. Oh yeah, think twice, 'cause just another day for you and me in paradise. Thank you so much.
Nayokizame motindo ya mpasi manyokolio yakampembeni tozalise wayoya motema tovandipo mwana tumeseningana yo dunia tovandipo mwana kimoningana miso ya mama ezali mabena yoka onkomi na mpasi na zate yako yana Kenya na yako zayoto zongana inchasa ya Elodi mopasa lakomo ya famili oti wapi